A week passed. Mattheo kept his distance, no grand entrances, no loud declarations. He didn't try to chase you between classes or ambush you with flowers and dramatic speeches. No, this time was different. Instead, he showed up quiet. He sat near you in magical theory. Not too close, not too far. Just close enough to catch your eye when the professor asked a question and quietly slide his notes toward yours when your quill ran dry. He didn't say a word, just gave a small nod when you looked at him in surprise. In the library, he came early every day now, arriving before dawn to study for news, something he'd never done before. When Scarlet arrived at her usual time later that morning, she found her favorite table already taken, but clean. Her inkwell full of fresh emerald green ink, the kind only you used, and beside it, one perfectly brewed cup of tea from Madame Pin's secret stash. She'd once mentioned it liked it strongest with just a splash of honey. No note, just warmth curling off porcelain. And proof? I see you. It was raining outside, soft and steady against the window panes of the castle. The great hall buzzed with chatter and laughter as students prepared for the upcoming Hogsmeade weekend. You were sitting alone at the Slytherin table, nibbling a piece of toast while reading the Daily Prophet, your fingers absently twisting a strand of dark hair around your fingertip. And then he appeared, not with his usual swagger, not loud or attention-grabbing, just quiet steps on stone, and suddenly, beside you, not sitting down, not demanding space, just present. "Scarlet," he said softly, voice low enough that only you could hear. You looked up from the paper, a little taken aback. "Mattheo," you said, evenly folding the paper closed. His hands were shoved deep in his pockets, slightly hunched from the rain outside. He looked tired, like he hadn't slept much, but his eyes held yours steady, no cocky smirk, no charming smile. Just honest. He cleared his throat, suddenly seeming uncharacteristically nervous. "Can I sit?" he asked after a moment. You blinked, surprised at the uncertainty you heard in his voice. Not the usual confident, carefree Mattheo. This one felt real, and a bit fragile. After a brief pause, you nodded. Yeah." He sat, shifting in the seat to face you. The rain outside drummed against the window, a soft background rhythm. "You know," he began, voice quiet, "I was thinking about what you said. That you didn't believe you were important to me." You stiffened slightly. He exhaled slowly, not looking away. "I don't know how many times I can say it, but that's the last thing on my mind," he said gently. "You're the only one who ever made me feel like I mattered." He looked down at his hands briefly, your fingers curling slightly into fists before relaxing again. "I just couldn't believe someone like you, someone so strong and brilliant and kind, could actually choose someone like me. So when things started shifting, the summer visits, your family overseas, I panicked." His voice dropped. "And instead of fighting for us, I sabotaged it." Another breath, one that sounded almost painful. "I wanted to prove to myself that if anyone was going to leave first, it would be me." Your heart pounded in your chest. This was not the Mattheo you knew, not the charismatic, confident one. This was raw, honest, vulnerable. He ran a hand through his hair, a familiar gesture, but different now. Nervous, uncertain. "I thought if I screwed up first, it'd be easier," he admitted quietly. "If it was my fault, if I could convince myself I didn't care, it wouldn't hurt as much when you left." Again, his gaze met yours. Steady but afraid. A silence stretched between you, long, fragile. The kind that holds 1,000 unspoken words. Then you whispered, "But I didn't leave." Mattheo flinched as if the truth of it struck him all over again. "No," he said hoarsely, "you didn't." His voice cracked slightly. "You stayed, and then I was the one who lost you." He swallowed hard, eyes glistening under the soft candlelight. "And I don't know how to come back from that." The air between you was thick, charged with every unsaid thing, every wound laid bare. "So I'm not asking for forgiveness," he said softly. "I don't expect it." You stared at him, heart-twisting. "But I need you to know. I see it now." His voice dropped to barely more than a whisper. "I see what love is. Not lust, not games or jokes or temporary sparks." He leaned forward slightly, close enough that you could feel the warmth of his breath against your skin. "It's showing up," he said quietly. "It's staying. It's choosing someone even when it scares the hell out of you." His eyes locked with yours, fierce and raw and honest. "And Scarlet," a beat passed. "Then, I choose you. Over everything else." Your throat tightened. His words landed like a storm inside you, stirring up every emotion you'd felt since that night. The pain, the anger, the longing. But there was something else now. Not forgiveness, not yet, but hope. You took a deep breath, trying to find your voice. "Mattheo," you began, voice barely more than a whisper. "I want to trust you." His gaze flickered, hope and fear warring in those gray eyes. I want to, so badly, I want to forget and move forward. What if I never get there? His breath caught. He didn't reach for you, didn't try to touch your hand or pull you close. Not yet, but the way he looked at you, it was like he was memorizing every heartbeat between them. Then I'll wait, he said, voice raw but steady. If it takes a day, a month, a year, he swallowed hard. I don't care how long it takes. His eyes held yours. No games, no escape, just truth. You don't have to forget, he whispered. I don't want you to. He shifted slightly closer, not crossing the line, just closing the space enough that warmth could pass between them. Remember, he said gently. Feel it, the hurt, the anger, all of it. His voice cracked slightly. Because so do I. A beat passed in silence. Then, I carry what I did every second of every day. And if holding on to that pain means keeping yourself safe. His lips twitched into something almost too fragile to call a smile. Then I'll hold on to mine too. Quietly, softly, with everything in him. As long as it takes. You took a deep breath. Can I be honest with you and tell you where I'm at in my head? Like no filter? The kind of stuff you shouldn't say out loud. His expression softened, something quiet and safe in his eyes. Always, he said, voice barely above a whisper. Anything you say stays here. No judgment, no fear. He leaned back slightly to give you space, to show he wasn't going anywhere. And then he looked at you, really looked, and said, I'm listening. You're not going to like it. His gaze didn't flicker. He stayed steady, watching you. Probably not, he said easily. But it's not about whether I like it. I asked for your honesty, not your silence. Here's the thing. I'm not cool girl enough for this. I can't get back with you and then see you and Pansy together. As friends, acquaintances even. I don't ever want to see you two in the same room again, which I know is psychotic and problematic. I don't blame her nearly as much as I blame you. She knew about me, but I was nothing to her. She didn't owe me loyalty. But my brain, my limbic system is telling me that I want her to cease to exist in my world. And yours. Which is insane. And I'm willing to bet a very unhealthy coping mechanism. He listened without blinking, not a muscle moving, expression unreadable. But you knew him well enough to see the flicker in his eyes when you mentioned Sim and Pansy together. It's not psychotic, he said quietly. It's jealous as hell, but it's human. And I can't blame you. I'd feel exactly the same. You met his gaze. It was so intense it almost hurt. You know I can't promise never to see her again, he said finally. Not in the common room, not at meals, not in class. We live in the same damn castle, Scarlet. Your jaw clenched. He saw it, felt it in the silence between you. But, he said slowly, voice firm now, I can promise this. He leaned forward slightly, hands resting on the table, not touching you, not yet, but every word deliberate. You will never see me talk to her again unless I have to. And even then? No lingering looks, no shared jokes, no history bleeding into the present. His eyes burned with quiet intensity. If being near her, even as friends, makes you feel like you're losing me all over again, then she doesn't get anything from me. A pause. Then, she lost my friendship when she took more than that. Your breath hitched slightly at that, but he wasn't finished. I'll make sure of it. His voice dropped, lower, rougher, like the words were being pulled from somewhere deep. And if that means keeping my distance from everyone we used to share, if it means changing how I move through this place. He looked at you then. Really looked. No masks. No escape. Then that's what I'll do. A beat passed. Because you're what matters, he whispered. Not comfort, not convenience, not some twisted loyalty to someone who helped me hurt you. His jaw tightened. Your eyes burned, tears threatening to spill, but you held them back. He waited, letting the weight of his promise settle into the air between you. Then slowly, you nodded. Thank you, you whispered, voice thick with emotion. It wasn't forgiveness, it wasn't trust, not fully, but it was acknowledgement. And space. Mattheo let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. His shoulders dropped slightly, as if relief and sorrow had just fused into one quiet ache inside him. I know I don't deserve your honesty, he said softly, but I'll spend every day trying to. Your heart clenched. Everything felt so fragile, so dangerous. You're right, you said quietly, holding his gaze. You don't. He flinched slightly, but didn't look away, just took the blow, let it sink, settle. You took a deep breath, trying to steady your voice, but you have it anyway. And with that one sentence, the tension between you lifted. Not all the way, but enough. Maybe that's a start. Mattheo exhaled, long, slow, like he was letting go of something heavy he'd been carrying for months. Yeah, he said softly, maybe it is. He didn't smile, not really, but there was something in his eyes, a quiet warmth, a flicker of hope. You looked at him, really looked, and saw not the boy who ran from feelings or hid behind jokes, but the one trying to stand still, trying to stay. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough. The rest of breakfast passed in silence. But it wasn't awkward or strained, it was just quiet. Like the world had slowed down enough for two people to hear each other, really see each other, for the first time in a long time. As you finished your toast, you glanced at the clock on the wall. We're gonna be late, you said quietly. Mattheo followed your gaze, grimacing. Damn. Yeah, we should go. You both stood, and as you turned to leave, he fell into step beside you, not too close, not too far. Just there. You didn't touch, you didn't speak. But when your fingers accidentally brushed at the doorway, you both paused. And then, so faint it might have been imagined, he curled his little finger around yours for just a second before pulling away. No grand gesture, no promises made out loud, just a whisper of contact, a memory of warmth, and the quiet understanding that this wasn't over, it wasn't fixed, it wasn't even close to healed. But it was beginning. The hallways were packed as usual, students rushing to classes, groups of friends chatting as they made their way through the crowds. You and Mattheo walked side by side, silent but hyper-aware of each other's presence. His arm brushed against yours once or twice, accidentally on purpose, sending jolts of electricity through your system. You kept your eyes straight ahead, trying to focus on the path ahead rather than the heat of him beside you. But it was almost impossible. The two of you navigated the crowded corridor without a word, the space between you charged with 1,000 unsaid things. You could feel Mattheo's gaze occasionally flit to you, but you kept your eyes ahead. You weren't ready to acknowledge the fact that just being beside him made your heart race. The crowd shifted, and for a moment, your shoulders pressed together. A jolt shivered through you at the contact. You pretended not to notice. The crowd surged again, and suddenly someone jostled past, too hard. You stumbled forward, but didn't fall. Mattheo's hand shot out, steady as stone, catching your elbow and pulling you back into balance. Whoa, he murmured. Close now. Too close. His voice low against your ear. You good? Your breath caught at the warmth of him, his grip firm but gentle on your arm. You nodded quickly. Yeah, thanks. He didn't let go right away, just held on just a second longer than necessary, as if testing the silence between you. Then, slowly, his fingers slid down your arm, brush of warmth over skin, before finally releasing. Anytime, he said quietly, not teasing, not flirtatious, just truth. You exhaled, soft, shaky, and kept walking. The classroom door loomed ahead. Magical theory, your usual class. He fell into step beside you again, neither of you speaking. No jokes, no distractions, just presence. And for the first time in weeks, it didn't feel heavy. It felt like a beginning. The classroom was already crowded with students when you and Mattheo walked in. You both went straight for your usual desks at the back of the room, close enough that your knee would almost touch his if you stretched out your leg. You sat in silence, taking out your books and trying to avoid looking at him. But you could feel his eyes on you, as if he was trying to see through your stubborn, silent facade. You ignored him, focused on the chalkboard at the front. The teacher began class, droning on about the importance of advanced magical theory. But you didn't hear a single word. All you could feel was the heat of Mattheo beside you, the faint brush of his knee against your thigh when he shifted in his seat, the weight of his gaze still burning a hole in the side of your face. You kept your eyes locked straight ahead, refusing to turn. This was better. Safe. The class seemed to stretch on forever. Every second ticked by like an eternity. You could feel Mattheo still watching you, that steady, quiet gaze. You gripped your quill until your knuckles turned white. The teacher called on him for an answer, and he replied easily. The sound of his voice made your heart skip a beat. God damn it, don't look at him. He shifted slightly in his seat, just enough that the back of his hand brushed against yours. Light. Brief. Unintentional. You froze, breath catching in your throat. He didn't move away, and you didn't pull back. So there it was, your fingers lying side by side on the desk between you, not touching, but so close the smallest electric current hummed beneath your skin. The teacher continued their lecture, completely oblivious to the silent storm happening between you and Mattheo. You could feel his warmth radiating from his skin, could almost hear the faint, quiet inhale and exhale of his breath. And then, slowly, your pinky reached for his. The movement was so faint it could have been a mistake, the lightest touch as your pinky brushed against his, feather-like. He went still. You held your breath, heart beating in your throat. The moment stretched on for eternity. Were you imagining it, or was he holding his breath too? Then, almost so faintly you could convince yourself it wasn't, he moved. His pinky twitched ever so slightly, curling under yours in a gesture so small, yet so significant. Your heart hammered in your chest. The two of you sat there, not touching except for that one tiny point of connection. A bridge between your bodies. The class moved on around you, but you barely heard any of it. All you could focus on was the small point of contact between you and Mattheo. Every beat of your heart sent an aftershock through your system. Every breath felt more shallow now, like there wasn't enough air in the room. Slowly, so slowly, his fingers shifted on the desk until they were fully curled around yours. His palm was warm, calloused. Your heart skipped a beat at the simple contact, at the way your hand fitted so perfectly against his. His thumb grazed over the back of your hand, the gesture so quiet and so subtle it could have been a twitch. But you knew it wasn't. And that alone was enough to make your heart thunder so loudly you were sure he could hear it. You still hadn't looked at him, couldn't look at him, just sat there, staring straight ahead. Mattheo could feel her pulse beneath his fingers, racing like a storm. His own heart wasn't doing any better. He didn't dare move, didn't speak, just held her hand under the desk, where no one else could see, where the world still thought they were just classmates sitting too close. But this was everything. Her fingers slowly curled tighter around his in response, an answer he hadn't known he needed until this moment. And then, ever so gently, he pressed her palm against his chest with her joined hands hidden between them just once. A silent promise, an apology, a beginning. You felt the press of your hand against his chest through their entwined fingers and froze. His heartbeat was strong beneath your palm, steady, real, and for the first time since everything fell apart, you let yourself feel it. Not just his heart, but the moment, the possibility. Still you didn't look at him. Still you said nothing. But you didn't pull away either. The teacher's voice droned on and on. The clock on the wall ticked quietly. Students shuffled in their seats, but the two of you sat still. Just sat there, in the back corner of the classroom, hands clasped together beneath the desk. Mattheo's fingers traced slow circles over your knuckles, an unconscious gesture that sent jolts through your system. The intimacy of it, after so many months of nothing, was both painful and perfect. He'd always been good with his hands, long calloused fingers skilled at every damn thing they touched. And right now, he was touching you. Slow, steady movements, a subtle rhythm no one else could see. Like he was telling you something without words. You felt like you were burning, his fingers tracing patterns over your wrist. Every touch felt deliberate, intense. You kept your gaze straight ahead, forcing yourself to stay focused. Don't look at him, don't look at him. But then just one glance, a flick of your eyes toward him, and found him already staring at you. Your heart stuttered. His gaze locked with yours. There was a moment of silent understanding, a jolt of electricity between you that made everything around you feel strangely distant. The class seemed to fade into background. Everyone else was just static. It was just you and Mattheo, sitting too close. Hands joined beneath the desk, eyes locked, breath caught. He didn't look away, neither did you. The world outside was a blur. The teacher's voice fading to a distant hum, the other students nothing more than shapes in the corner of your vision. All you could see was him. All you could feel was the heat of his gaze burning into your skin, and the way your heart threatened to beat right out of your chest. Your breaths were shallow, too fast, too loud. Your hand trembled against his. He was so damn still. Not even a muscle out of place, only his eyes moving, roving over every familiar feature until they landed on your lips. You fought the urge to moisten them, fought the shiver that wanted to run down your spine, fought the heat coiling low in your belly. His thumb traced across your knuckles, once, slow, deliberate, a silent question. Everything in you ached to answer that question, ached to close those last few inches of space, but you stayed put, still. He'd been the one to pull away before. He'd been the one to break your heart, and a stolen moment in a classroom couldn't change that. But his eyes, those damn eyes, they were intense, serious, searching, begging. You didn't look away. Couldn't. Because something about the way he was staring at you, like he'd never seen anything more beautiful, more important, made your chest tighten with a painful kind of hope. And then his fingers curled slightly tighter around yours under the desk, a gentle squeeze, a whisper of contact that said everything his voice wouldn't let him say. I'm still here. I'm not running. Not anymore. Your breath caught. Your heart skipped a beat. For a moment, time seemed to slow to a crawl. The world faded away. The classroom, the teacher's voice, the students, it all blurred into background noise. Because right now, the only thing that mattered, the only thing clear and real was this moment, this touch, this promise. I'm here. I'm staying this time. You believed him. Despite everything, despite the months of hurt and heartache, you believed this was real. The way he was looking at you with so much sincerity, so much vulnerability, your fingers uncurled slightly, fitting more firmly against his. It was a tiny gesture, but beneath the desk, it felt like a beginning. You sat like that for the rest of class, fingers intertwined beneath the desk where no one could see, your heart beating like a drum in your chest. His heartbeat strong under your palm. The two of you didn't speak, didn't look at each other, just sat, hand in hand, breathing, feeling, hoping. The teacher's voice droned on and on. Your classmates chattered quietly around you, but to you, none of it mattered. When the bell finally rang, neither of you moved right away. The classroom emptied around you, students gathering books, shuffling out, laughing in groups. But the two of you stayed seated, hands still joined beneath the desk, neither ready to let go. The classroom was quiet now, only the distant echo of footsteps and chatter from the hallway. You both sat motionless, still holding hands beneath the desk. And then finally, you turned to look at him. Mattheo, you whispered. His name felt strange on your tongue, soft, fragile, like saying it too loud might break something between you. The way you said his name, so damn soft. He felt that familiar ache in his chest at the sound, the same one he felt every single day since he pushed you away all those months ago. But this time, it didn't feel hopeless. Slowly, he met your gaze, fingers curling a little tighter around yours beneath the desk. Yeah, your heart was pounding in your chest. He looked so damn good, dark hair a mess in his face, gray eyes serious, the same crooked smirk pulling at the corner of his lips that always made you weak. You'd almost forgotten how much you missed this, being close to him, close enough to feel the heat of his body, smell the familiar scent of his cologne, close enough to see that tiny scar by his eyebrow. He watched you as you took him in, the familiar little furrow between your eyebrows, the way your teeth caught your bottom lip, a nervous habit he knew like the back of his hand. You looked even better than he remembered, hair falling in gentle waves, perfect lips. God damn, he wanted to kiss you. He'd thought about it a million times, the way your mouth would feel against his. The taste of you. You swallowed, taking a shaky breath. He was so close. You could see the faint stubble along his jaw, the shadows under his eyes, a reminder that you weren't the only one who'd been struggling. But it was the way he was still holding your hand, his thumb tracing that familiar path over your palm. It made you ache so damn much. You okay? You asked quietly. It came out soft, too vulnerable, and for a second something broke in his expression. Like the weight of that question hit him harder than any anger ever could. He looked down at your joined hands beneath the desk, then back up at you, his voice rough with emotion as he said, "I will be." The silence between you thickened. He was still holding your hand, your other one resting against his chest, pressed there by their clasped fingers. You could feel his heartbeat under your palm, strong, steady, just like it used to be when you'd fall asleep on him after late night talks in the common room, back when everything felt simple, when love didn't come with this kind of pain. Without realizing it, you found yourself tracing tiny circles on his chest with your thumb. It felt so damn familiar, like muscle memory, a reflex you hadn't been able to shake. He went still beneath your hand, eyes fixed on you as your hand moved against him. You almost froze when you realized what you were doing. But he didn't. If anything, his fingers curled tighter around yours, like he was afraid you'd pull away. And you could feel the way his breath caught at the small movement, the way it stuttered ever so slightly whenever you brushed your thumb across his chest. It sent shivers down your spine, a reminder of how well you knew him, and how well he still knew you. You should pull away, you thought. Stop touching him, stop looking at him, stop acting like any of this is normal. But your hand was still pressed against him, his heart still hammering away under your palm. You could feel the rise and fall of his chest with every breath. It was all so damn familiar. All these little things you'd taken for granted, the small, intimate moments that came as easily as breathing. And God, you'd missed them. He was still watching you. The way your hand traced across his chest, the way your thumb brushed against the fabric of his shirt, it was killing him. It'd been so long since he'd felt your touch, and feeling it now was both incredible and agonizing. Those damn little motions that were so effortless but so intimate at the same time. They were driving him crazy. He wanted to pull you into his lap, hold you against him. God, he wanted you so bad. You were so caught up in the feel of his heartbeat, in the memories that his touch brought back, that you barely noticed how much you'd shifted closer. Your chairs were almost together now, knees bumping beneath the desk, and your heart was hammering in your chest, the sound so damn loud you were sure he could hear it too. His gaze was still fixed on your hand against his chest, those gray eyes burning into you like a brand. Scarlet, he breathed. Your name a whisper, a prayer. His voice was low, rough with something unspoken. You looked up at him then, really looked, and in that moment the world stopped. Everything fell away, the past, the hurt, the anger. It was just you two again, like it used to be. The intensity in his eyes made you shiver. Your pulse thundered in your ears. God damn it, you wanted him. Every inch of you ached for him, the way it always had. And the way he was looking at you, like he felt it too. Without thinking, your fingers curled a little more tightly against his chest, and he sucked in a sharp breath. A low curse left his lips, so soft it was nearly inaudible, but you heard it. His eyes were dark, his grip on your hand tightening almost involuntarily. There was so much left unspoken between you. Things you should say, things you should discuss. But right now, the only thing that mattered was this. You and him. His heart beat against your hand, his body so close to yours. He wanted to kiss you so bad it burned. Every fiber of his being ached for it. To brush his lips against your skin. To trace slow trails down your neck, but there was doubt in his eyes too. The weight of the time you'd gone without each other. The pain of what happened. You could feel it in his touch, the hesitation, the uncertainty, the regret. He wanted to kiss you, but he was scared too. The tension between you was electric. Every breath felt too loud. Every touch sent jolts down your spine. And the way he was looking at you, he looked wrecked. His eyes were dark with want, but there was pain there too. Regret, fear. It all played over his face like a silent film. The war between what he wanted and what he thought he deserved. The silence was so thick you could almost taste the tension. But neither of you spoke. Your hand against his chest. Your legs pressed against each other, your breath coming in shallow little bursts. The silence seemed to crackle around you, filled with all the things you should say but couldn't find the words for. His fingers traced slow circles around your wrist, that small, unconscious gesture you'd known for so long. It was so familiar it made your heart ache. You could see the conflict in his eyes, desire, battling regret. And then, softly, so damn soft, he said, "Scarlet, damn him, that voice. God, that voice. Low, rough, so damn familiar. It made every nerve in your body pulse. Your heartbeat was so loud you could feel it. His thumb traced that steady little circle against your wrist. The gesture so intimate you almost missed the words that followed. I miss you. God damn him." Your heart was pounding so hard it hurt. But when you looked at him, really looked at him, you saw it for the first time, all the pain and regret on his face. He missed you. He looked like he wanted to reach for you. God, you wanted him to. Instead, he just tightened his grip on your hand. "I miss you so damn much." The intensity in his voice cracked something open inside you. Every emotion you thought you'd buried came pouring to the surface. Anger, sadness, love. It was still there. After everything. And looking up at him now, feeling his hand around yours, his heartbeat quickening against your palm, you knew it had never really gone away. "I miss you too." Your voice was hoarse, shaking. He'd wanted to hear that for months. Wanted it so badly it ate away at him. But now that you'd finally said, now that he had you this close again, it was torture. He could feel the heat of your body, the rapid rise and fall of your chest, and the way you were looking at him now, like you'd been aching for him as much as he'd been aching for you. You wanted him so much it hurt. Every fiber in your body ached to get closer. You were so close to crossing that line, to letting all that hurt and pain wash away and just take what you wanted. But the fear was still in his eyes. His voice was still just as conflicted when he said, almost like he didn't realize he was saying it out loud, "God, I want to kiss you." Your heart stuttered. For a second you actually thought you'd imagined it. But no, he was watching you with those familiar gray eyes, his voice soft and raw as he repeated, "I want to kiss you." God, you wanted to kiss him too, so damn much. But there was that damn fear in his eyes again. A mixture of want and guilt and doubt so intense it made your heart ache. The moment hung between you, thick and charged. Everything around you seemed to blur. The classroom, the students, the world. All that existed in that instant was you and him, his heart beneath your hand, his eyes fixed on your face, the memories of all the times you'd been this close together rushing through your head like a storm. And all he wanted to do was kiss you. His fingers tightened around yours, almost involuntary, like he was afraid this was all going to disappear the moment you stood up. You'd almost forgotten where you were, The sounds of your classmates chatting, filing into the room, interrupting the perfect little bubble that formed around you. And just like that, reality came crashing back. You were still just two students in a classroom. The distance between you felt 1,000 miles long. Your eyes dropped to his lips, just for a second. Too fast, maybe, but you were sure he noticed. He sucked in a sharp breath, almost painful in its intensity. "Scarlet," he whispered again. This time it sounded like surrender. He didn't let go of your hand. Not until you gently pulled it away. Not until he had no choice. And when you stood up, your knees almost gave out beneath you, weak from everything that just passed between you. You grabbed your bag with slightly trembling hands, tried to steady your breathing. He stayed seated, watching every movement like he was memorizing it. He wanted to say something, anything, to acknowledge what just happened. But your words caught in your chest, trapped in the tangled storm of thoughts and emotions and questions swirling in your mind. And so you said nothing, just took one last glance at him sitting there, watching you walk away. The look on his face was one you'd remember forever, an intoxicating mix of hope and sorrow and something like desperation. You made your way to the door, your heart still racing, your skin still tingling where his hand had been. Every instinct was telling you to turn back, to go to him, to let him hold you again. But you didn't. You stepped out into the corridor, the noise of your classmates' voices filling your head like static. But all you could hear was his voice, those whispered words echoing over and over in your head. "I miss you. I want to kiss you. I want you." God damn it, you wanted the same things. He watched you walk out into the hallway. Every part of him ached to follow, to grab your hand and pull you back to him where you belonged. But he didn't. He just sat there, staring after you like a damn fool, trying to keep the image of your face imprinted in his mind. The moment you were gone, the world came crashing back. Students filed into the classroom for their next lesson, talking and laughing. The professor walked in a few minutes later with parchment under his arm. Mattheo didn't move. He couldn't. His hand still felt warm where yours had been. Your name echoing through his head like a prayer he didn't know how to say. He finally stood up, slow, heavy. The rest of the day passed like a dream, a blur of voices and movement he didn't really register. But every moment that passed, it only made one thing clearer. He had to do better, be better. For her, for them.